Hi, and welcome to the Virgin River Cafe Rewatch podcast. Hey there, Gigi.
Hello, Tracy.
How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well, thank you.
Can I tell you, I'm really excited about this episode. We finally made it to season 6. Oh my gosh, we started
Uh,
this like the whole point was waiting for season 6 to drop. 54 episodes later, here we
Here we
are.
are.
I'm so excited. Finally. So this episode dropped, I should say all of the episode dropped midnight on December 19th, 2024. There were 10 episodes. And I know you didn't, but I did. I watched all 10 back to back. I sat there all night. I knew I was going to do it. I prepped for it. I trained. and and I watched all 10.
Wait 2 nights.
I know it
Wait
did.
2 nights.
I watched them straight through because I was super excited because there was just so much anticipation for it.
Yes, there
So,
was.
yeah, I couldn't help it. I've seen
It's
them
all
several times. So,
right.
so what are we drinking today in this honoring this occasion of season 6, the beginning?
Well, I have my little gizmo that can help me make a homemade cappuccino.
Oh, okay.
So, so that's what I did. I was able to froth my milk with my little, the little whippy stick. You have one as well.
Yep.
Make my cappuccino. Also, I was able to add some chocolate to it. I don't do it often
Well, it is a
because I
special
tend
occasion. I mean,
right. I tend to leave the chocolate for when I make a mocha.
right.
But I decided to make myself a mocha cappuccino today. So,
Nice.
and of course, it's hot.
Yes, I know.
Oh,
I'm okay with that. I'm gonna let you have your hot coffee, and it's all good.
I'm gonna let you have your cold.
That's
So,
fine, no problem. So today I took the Costa Rican coffee that my daughter brought back from her choir trip because she went to a
yeah,
coffee plantation and brought me a bag of coffee, and I made some cold brew.
nice.
And yes, and so I let that sit for 24 hours, and it makes a nice little cold brew concentrate. And I added some, and I put in a little bit of caramel, and I made my little frothy, my little cold foam, and put a little bit of cinnamon sugar on top. And I'm a little bit of my flavor, and I'm ready. I went all out. It's fancy today. I even put it in my favorite. I have a Starbucks cup that I got from Hawaii. It's got like palm trees on it when we were there several years ago, and I decided to put it
Look at
in that.
you.
I'm like, oh, I'm a fancy today. I'm ready.
Oh, look at you.
So let's get
All
started.
right. Okay. So this is season 6, episode 1. Hope Springs Eternal.
So it says Mel wants to honor her mom at the wedding and asks for Everett's help. Brady and Lark celebrate his settlement. Preacher's trial begins with a twist. Now, this season had multiple parts. It's like the first 3-ish episodes, 2-3 episodes were very different than the last 7. It's like we had to tie up some loose ends. We had to like figure out some things in the first few episodes before we could like get into like wedding mode. So it was nice that they sort of it was a slow burn in the beginning to kind of like tie things up, get things ready, preparation, it was really nice the way that they did it. I liked it. So,
Good, good.
so we start off with, of course, beautiful scenery because that's why we love it. It's a
Yeah,
character. We start off with, and it's kind of interesting because it makes it look like Mel and Jack's wedding, like
yeah.
a wedding because it's a church or something, and it's all decorated, and there's a bride and groom, and the groom's got dark, longer hair, and the bride has blondish, reddish hair. I mean, if at a quick glance, you might think this is Mel and Jack,
Exactly.
right? Because it's like, really, you do that to us? You would just like, what about all the prep? What? No, no, just a tease from the very beginning. Because you don't even really see the couple. They kind of hide them. You see the limo drive away and all the people, and here's Mel and Jack walking down grass, watching this couple drive away. It's like, psych, we were kidding. We wouldn't do that to you. You're going to experience all of it. So calm down, people. Because you know people were freaking out when they saw that. Like, how dare they do that to us? So they're pointing to the limo, and Mel's like, aw. And he's like, oh, it's going to be us soon. Now, if you notice, Mel's hair is considerably shorter.
Yep.
She's got just below shoulder length hair, which, can I tell you, girlfriend fought for many seasons for shorter hair. The closest she ever came was bangs for like the second part of last season when she was able to get bangs. I mean, the red hair was like a whole nother thing. It was like a different color red. But she
Uh,
has been fighting because she does not have long hair. She's really not had long hair since maybe like season 2. Her hair is like a bob. And they put extensions in every season. In fact, some of her Instagram shows her at the hairdresser with her favorite hairdresser putting in her extensions and then dyeing it the right color, and then she has to do maintenance, and sometimes she has to go to the hairdresser to get her extensions redone. And I guess after last season, the extensions really did a number on her hair. I guess she had a lot of breakage and a lot of damage. And so she was hoping that they would let her have her hair short because, like I said, her natural hair is right at shoulder length. Right after the season finished, within a month or two or whatever, she cut it all off. She just was
yeah.
like, I'm done. Like, let's just start fresh. It's the only way to like grow it back and get it healthy again because there was just so much damage. And but then she comes back and they're like, yeah, we don't mind it a little shorter, but not that short. And so they did make her put extensions in. But it is several inches shorter than it was. So, and everyone loved it. I mean, it's cute. It's a really cute style.
It's here.
I
They,
know, but you know, people like consistency. And
I
keep
get that.
in mind, it has to be consistent because remember, in this show, this
Right.
season this is
Still
supposed
a
to
year.
be 4 months later
Well,
because that's what they
if they
said,
were
the
okay,
time jump.
so if they're so into consistency, where did they lose their mind with the color?
I
Can
don't
you
know.
tell me?
That was like in the Christmas spirit. We're just gonna change the color. I don't know.
Uh,
Whatever. But now we estimated she moved there in January, very early February, mid to late January, and now we're in April, a year later. So now she's been in Virgin River for 15 months. And I'll
I'm glad
explain
you're keeping
later.
track of.
Well, I'll explain later how I know exactly the date that this first season, this first episode of this season starts. Like I actually have a date because we figured it out. It was if you're observant and you catch these little details, there is an actual date that this episode happens on. But we as the viewer, you won't figure that out until later, but there is an actual date. So they're just like admiring this limo and this couple. She turns to Jack and she's like, did you get us a getaway limo? And he's like, I did one better. And she goes, what? Wait. She goes, well, you're just going to have to wait to find out. So the two of them are just happily strolling down the street, probably Grace Valley, because that's where there's a town that is close to them. She's like, you're going to make me wait 3 weeks? He's like, I certainly am. So now we know the wedding is 3 weeks away. So this whole season, because we assume that the wedding is going to be in either the 9th or the 10th episode, it just seems logical that they would do that. So this whole season is going to happen over 3 weeks. Usually a season is about a month, sometimes 2 of time. And even with jumps and everything. But now we know that this season is going to last about 3 weeks. So at least we know what we're looking at. So she's like, unbelievable. And she's like, I can't wait to try my dress on. And he's like, you sure you don't want me to go in with you? It's like, Jack, come on. And she looks at him. She's like, no, you don't get to see me in that dress until we are walking down the aisle. She's like wagging her finger at him. It's very cute. They're just very cute walking down the street, holding hands, passersby. I mean, the town is adorable. I mean, it's just so cute. He's like, I just want to make sure that I can carry you over the threshold. And she looks at him like, oh, please. And she's like, that's not. And just as she's going to say something, he literally grabs her and picks her up. And he's like, oh my gosh, Jack, what are you doing? And he's carrying her down the street. And he's like, I'm practicing carrying my future wife over the threshold, as he's just walking down the street carrying her like it's nothing. So funny.
He's too sweet.
They're so cute. She's kicking her feet and she finally like jumps out of his arms. She goes, no, you're not. You're just trying to get a peek. Of course he is, but whatever. He's like, yes, I am. And he goes, if I don't get to know about the car, you don't get to know about the dress. So they're arm in arm going down the street. They're so cute.
That seems fair.
I guess. I mean, it's a car, though. I mean, it's a pretty big difference between a dress. She goes, all right, I'm excited to see the dress. So what? She goes, I'm also excited about our first dance. She goes, but you know what I'm most excited about? He's like, what? Spending the rest of my life, as they stop and they look at each other. He looks at her and he goes, with the woman that I love. And she's like, aw. And they kiss outside. And she goes, and what a lucky woman I am. He goes, what a lucky man. And she turns around. They've actually stopped right in front of the dress shop. She turns around and through the window, who does she see? She goes, oh, gotta go. Bree and the sewing circle ladies are waiting. He goes, yeah, I gotta go to the hardware store and get the rest of the supplies. And she's like, is the barn going to be ready for the wedding? And he's like, oh, yeah, anything for my bride-to-be, as he gives her a kiss. She's like, okay. And in she goes.
So now we know that they've bought the farm.
Yes. So it's been 4 months. They bought the farm, and he said he was going to build a house and a barn. And that's what I guess is under construction, which we will get to see in a little bit. So she walks in. They have slippers at the door. She leaves her shoes at the door. And she puts some slippers on. And just as she turns around to look at everybody, we've got Connie and Joellen, Liddy, Muriel, and Bree. And they're all holding up champagne glasses saying, congratulations. And they're like, she's here. So exciting. Like, this is her friend group. Jack's standing outside like, it's like the old Kmart commercial, like open, open, open. Like he's standing there. And she's like, oh, get out of here. And she's like shooing him away. Like, get out of here. And he's like, oh, sorry. And he like makes a beeline. They all start laughing. Cute. So Bree hands Mel a champagne flute. She's like, for you. She's like, thank you all for coming. Like, this is her group. These are her ladies. And the sewing circle.
These are her people.
Yeah. This is the village. You know, they say it takes a village.
That's right.
This is her village. And the ladies, they're so happy. They're like, thank you for including us. And she goes, well, of course, I needed the sewing circle seal of approval. Like, duh. She goes, plus, it took months to find this dress. So apparently they found the dress, and that's why they're here. And she's like, yes, it did. Bree is like, it was worth the effort. They all clink their glasses, and the lady from the dress shop comes out, and she goes, here is your dress. Mel hands her flute back to Bree, and she's like, okay, so exciting. Everybody's so excited. So she's going to take the garment bag, and she's going to go change. So all the ladies are going to sit down and get ready. They're basically talking to Mel while she's changing. And Muriel's like, so how's the wedding planning going? And she's like, it's going really great. Hope's officiating. Charmaine offered to do my hair, which is kind of funny. She goes, which is really sweet. And the RSVPs keep pouring in. And all the ladies are just so excited to hear all the news. And they're like, oh, good. And is your father coming? And everybody stops and looks at Joellen, who just said that. And like,
she can't help herself.
No, she can't help herself. God love her, but she can't help herself. And even Mel kind of like, even the look on her face. Now, we flash back, not that far back, to how we ended. Remember when we left our friends in Virgin River in season 5, the last scene was Everett Reed coming to Mel's and Jack's place on Christmas Day night after Jack's given her a puppy, saying that, yes, I'm your father. and here's letters from your mother, and there's something important I need to tell you. And that's how they ended that. So
Yep.
now we do the flashback and find out what that was all about because, we were dying. So they kind of rehash it, just thought you might want to hear your mother's voice. And he gives her the letters and he says, I've got something important I need to tell you. And he's like, some people in this town aren't going to like me being a part of your life. And she looks at him very confused and she goes, what do you mean? And he's like, I've made some enemies, hurt people, done things I'm not proud of, things folks might not be able to move past. Some of those folks might be friends of yours. And she's like, okay. She goes like, who? And he's like, well, Vernon Mullins for one. It's like, uh-oh. She goes,
boy.
yes. And then so now we're back to reality. And she answers Joellen's question. Yes, my father is coming. Now the lady's helping her with her dress. And Connie's like, I just can't believe that Everett Reed is your father.
Okay, let me ask this question. How did they find this out? And I know it's like, once one person finds out, great. But they didn't share this information with anybody unless,
Remember, it's been 4 months. It's been since Christmas.
Right.
I'm sure
Christmas, somebody.
that once she found out and she probably shared the information. I'm sure she said, don't make a big deal about it. He's uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. Apparently there's a thing between him and Doc that I don't know about. It looks like she doesn't know. Everything seems weird right now. So at this point, we don't know if she knows what the squabble is between him and Doc. We have to assume that either they've talked about it and everything's fine and that's why he's coming, or he's going to keep it to himself, but he's still going to be there and be supportive. So we don't know what that relationship looks like right now, because if it's as bad as Everett led us to believe, this could put her in the middle of him and Doc. And that could be bad, knowing how close she is with Doc.
Yep.
So we don't know. We don't have enough information. I mean, it's literally the first 5 minutes of the episode. So a lot has happened in a very short time because of 4 months that have passed. And we don't know what happened during those 4 months, except for she now has a dress that she's trying on and her father's coming to the wedding. She didn't say he's walking her down the aisle. She just said he's coming. So that's all going to unfold. So they're like, okay, this is the first I heard of him, Muriel says. So she goes, well, that's because you haven't lived here your whole life, Liddy tells her. She's like, so I guess they really haven't talked much about him. Like, he kind of stayed on the down low, out in his cabin outside of town. Liddy says Everett used to be quite the man about town. So Liddy's been here forever. And Connie's like, not anymore. And Mel's like, it's okay. I know he and Doc don't get along. And Joellen's like, Doc doesn't get along with plenty of people. I mean, Mel kind of looks sad that they don't get along. And Bree, of course, doesn't know what's going on. So she's like, do any of you know what happened? Because neither of them will talk to her about it. And Liddy's like, I don't know if anyone knows for sure except the two of them. So maybe they wanted to take it to the grave.
Yep.
She's like, one day, years ago, Everett just moved into the woods and never came out. And Connie's like, until now. And then Mel clears her throat. And they all stand up to look at her, and the looks on their faces is perplexed and uncomfortable and shocking.
Yeah, and the look on Connie's face says everything.
Right?
Everybody's got a shock, but Connie looks like, what the hell?
Yeah. And they're like, how pretty. She comes out in a form-fitting, full-lace dress with its plunged basically halfway down the center of her chest. She describes it very well, so we will let her own words describe it. I mean, it's pretty, but my guess is this is not what she's got a fake smile on her face, and Bree's looking at her with very, very skeptical eyes. And she's like, yeah, no, this is not the dress, as she walks out and looks at all of them. And the dress shop lady, is just standing there very poised with a smile on her face. Bree looks at her. She goes, this is not the dress, shaking her head. And Mel's like, no. And Connie's like, thank God. They're all looking at her with like a kind of look on their face. And the woman from the dress shop is like, is there a problem? And Mel's like, yes, this is not the dress I ordered. As she kind of chuckles, like, she goes, it is. This is the Vanna. Mel's like, yeah, no. I ordered the Ophelia. It's the same designer, but there's just, there's more lace and it has a fuller skirt. And the neckline is not so plungy as she's trying to like cover her chest up. And Connie's like, she's getting married on a farm, not in Las Vegas, which is perfect.
I love Connie in so many ways. I can't even tell you.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yes. Oh, God, love her.
Oh, so the lady is like with her very stoic smile. She's like, uh-oh. It's that look on your face like, oh no. And somebody's like, oh, there was obviously a miscommunication. Bree stands up, the lawyer in her. She goes, she ordered the Ophelia. This is the Vanna. And because Muriel's holding the book and showing a picture of what she actually ordered. And she goes, yeah. Mel's like, I have receipts. And Bree's like, yes, she has receipts. There have been transactions. So if you could just get the Ophelia here pronto, that would be. And the lady's like, well, that's not possible. The Ophelia is, and she does it in such a snobby voice.
I know.
The Ophelia is hand-stitched by the designer herself in San Quirico de Orchia. And they're looking at her like, huh?
And that's whose problem is that? That's a you problem, not a me problem.
Right. And the lady's like very, very matter of fact about it. She goes, the Ophelia, it takes very personal attention to detail, which is why the look is so refined. And Mel's like, which is why I ordered the Ophelia. And the lady's like, so, well, we could augment the Vanna into a closer version of the Ophelia here in store. Our seamstress is on vacation, but I think she'll be back in 2 weeks. And the look on Mel's face, like, and the lady's like, let me go check. And everyone's face, it's just like their smiles are just gone. Like their face, all the faces fall. They're all like mortified. Like, are you kidding? She's getting married in 3 weeks and the seamstress won't be back for 2? Are you kidding? Mel's like, oh my God. Oh my God. 2 weeks? What am I going to do? And everybody's like kind of freaking out. And the ladies are looking at the book, the 4 of them, and they're opening it, looking at the picture of what she actually wanted. And Joellen's like, Mel, we can transform this. And Mel's looking at her. She's like, are you sure? I mean, it seems like a lot of work. And Liddy's like, just think of us as your fairy godmothers. And they kind of look like them. I love that. That's like my favorite line of this episode.
I know. I love that line.
And she's like, we promise that on your wedding day, you are going to be in the dress of your dreams. And Mel kind of takes a deep breath and lets it out. And she's like, okay. Kind of like,
she's still hesitant, though.
She's like, I don't believe it, but I'm going to have to. Because what choice does she have? She either waits 2 weeks for a seamstress that might or not be able to help, or she puts it in the hands of people who love her.
Yeah.
Who say they're her fairy godmother. She goes, okay, all right. She's like, thank you. And she's like, thank you. And she kind of looks like sad and scared. And she's like, and Brie gives her back her champagne to the fairy godmothers. And Liddy's like, to the fairy godmothers. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I love it. I love them. They have one of the best scenes of this season coming up later. That's hilarious.
As I said, as secondary characters, some of them.
Yeah.
I love the fact that this show doesn't miss the opportunity to include them.
Yeah.
Because they're such a vital part of the main characters that without them, you don't really have a storyline. I mean, it's nice to see Mel and Jack and Jock and Hope and all that sort of stuff.
They enrich the character and the storyline so much.
And the ensemble cast is so vital to who this story is.
Yeah.
You know, that you can't imagine the main characters without these characters with them,
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
anyway,
So we have some scenery shots, of course, but now we have a new one. It's like a drone shot, and it's flying over the construction of Mel and Jack's house and barn. So we finally get a good look at what is to be the under construction of a house and a barn. And there's a road, they put a road in, and the Airstream, I guess he was able to get one of the Airstreams, unless he just bought a new one, on the property, which is probably sort of like an office. He's probably using it as an office. There's a lot of like scaffolding and unfinished things, and the scaffolding is up, and Jack is there because remember he had to go to the hardware store before he headed to the property, and him and Preacher looks like they're putting shingles on the roof. So the two of them are working hard. I guess somebody else is running the bar because neither of them are there. And
I would say it was. I would have said it was Ricky, but Ricky's in the military.
Yeah, Ricky's in the military. We've got Hannah and other people, so I guess they're taking care of it. Preacher's like, hey, I'm going to need some. And just as he says that, Jack turns around and hands him a box, probably of nails or something. And they've got their gloves on and their work tool belts, and they just kind of sit down, and Preacher's looking at the view, and he goes, it's incredible here, Jack. I couldn't imagine a better place for you two to get married. And they're just kind of sitting there on the roof of this place that they're putting the shingles on and just kind of looking out at the scenery and the landscape. And they're like, well, I couldn't imagine doing it without you, brother. Because, they're like brothers. And he goes, well, what's a best man for? And he's like, which reminds me, we still got to plan your bachelor party. We can get guys from the company together for a fishing trip. So the company means their Marine group. Maybe that's what he wants to do? And he goes, time's running out. I appreciate that. I do. He's like, but I don't want you to worry about me. Your trial starts in a few days, man. So now there's going to be a trial. Now, remember, when we left, they found the body, but we didn't know anything else that happened. And Mike was worried the law could get involved and there could be a problem. So now we find out that there's going to be a trial and Preacher's a part of it, which that's scary.
Yeah.
And Preacher's like, yeah, well, I don't want you worrying about me either. And he looks at Jack and he's like, and I promise you, I will be there to stand by your side. He seems very confident. He goes, now, this roof ain't gonna fix itself. So we're at Jack's bar, and Bree is sitting there. She's got papers and a laptop and food. I mean, it's like her own little office. She's just setting up shop. And Kaya, who's now the fire chief, because remember when we left the last time, Hope had made her the fire chief. And she walks in uniform, and she sees Bree sitting there. And she walks over, and she's like, should I let Preacher know the veggie sandwich special needs rethinking? Because her sandwich is sitting there uneaten. And Bree's like, yeah, hey, I'm sorry. I just, I got lost in work. And she's like, yeah. She goes, this is all for Preacher's trial? So it looks like Bree is Preacher's lawyer. So obviously Kaya has a vested interest in what's going on because she's still with Preacher. So that relationship has continued. And Bree's like, yes. And Kaya sits down. She's like, can I ask you to be real with me, please? She's like, Preacher puts on a brave face, but I need a real face. She goes, he's charged with murder. That's life in prison. I mean, he didn't kill him, but... And Bree's like, okay. She goes, the prosecution's case is weak. They have physical evidence tying him to Wes, as well as cell phone pings which locate him at Paige's house. The day they believe Wes disappeared. But that's it. I'm surprised she's actually saying anything but then again, it's his girlfriend. It's a fine line, like lawyer client confidentiality.
Yeah. But you have to remember, I think Bree understands.
I know she gets it.
No, so, especially after all the crap she went through with Brady.
Exactly. She's like, it's all circumstantial, so I think we have a good chance of beating this. And Kaya's like, Thank you. Like, she just wanted someone to, like, lay it on her. Like, be real. She goes,
Yeah.
I just wish Paige would come forward. None of this would be happening if she was here. And Bree's like, it may not have mattered. They could have charged them both. She goes, the DA wasn't going to let this go. Wes was a cop. Doesn't matter that he was a dirty one. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
And then that's exactly what Kaya says. She goes, a crooked cop, but a cop nonetheless, as Bree says. So she goes, and Preacher's too good a man to give Paige up. I mean, Kaya knows that. Kaya believes that. It's just hard.
Yeah. Just when his life was settling down, this bullshit happens.
Yeah. So we are here at some medical facility or something, and Hope is not happy with the woman. She's like, I am here with my husband, Vernon Mullins. Vernon Mullins. And she's looking at the lady. She goes, he's here for a follow-up appointment. And the lady's like, for a clinical trial. She's like, he's been in there a very long time. So I guess he's in there seeing the doctor, and Hope is in the waiting room and being very impatient. This poor woman is just like trying to appease her without actually giving her anything.
Which is not a good thing when it comes to Hope.
Yeah. So I think she's probably waited and waited and waited and asked and waited. And finally she like had it. And she goes to yell at this poor receptionist at the desk. And just as she's like ready to like let her have it, the door opens and the doctor and Doc come out. And she's like, never mind. There he is. Like, forgotten. Moving on. She goes, you've been very helpful. So Doc is like, hey. And the doctor's like, she goes, oh, I'm sorry. We got to talking shop. Like, she's freaking out in the waiting room. And he's chewing the fat with the doctor, shooting the shit with her. Come on. She goes, but it's just incredible. This genetically engineered bivalent antibody is a game changer where a single epitope is directed to actually bind with the VEG2. And the doctor's like, yes, and the other is directed to angiopoietin 2. And they're just, exactly. And Hope, I love her. She goes, save it for your TED Talk. She's like, what's the prognosis? And if either of you says one more fancy science word, I'm out that door. Like, she is pissed and she's had enough. And he puts his arm on her shoulder to calm her down with a big smile. And the doctor leans into Hope and she goes, his images are clean. And Hope looks at Doc and Doc looks at Hope and he's got a big smile on his face. And she's like, oh, Vernon. And she gives him a big hug. Thank goodness. Now, I did hear, like, in prep for this season, they said, Doc and Hope, Hope with her traumatic brain injury and Doc with his macular degeneration, like, one thing that was sort of leaked or shared or whatever was that both Hope and Doc would have good, positive medical things happening in season 6. So it was just a matter of time. Hope's getting back to normal, and Doc, maybe the clinical trial worked, kind of a thing. That their medical stuff would be resolved, which was really good to hear. Because the last thing anybody needs is more medical stuff with the two of them.
Yep.
So more scenery. We're back at the cabin because Mel and Jack are still they're still living at the cabin because they're still building their house. Now Mel is sitting on the couch in this really pretty yellow dress, and she's looking at some things from a box, and Jack is home. And she's like, you're late, Sheridan. He's like, I know. And here comes the dog. He's like, I'm sorry, I lost track of time. Now, originally, this season got a late start because they had a strike. Remember, we had a writer's strike and a director's strike. And they were originally supposed to film, I think, in like the summer, like July. And it got delayed. And so everything got delayed. And because of that, the dog, they were supposed to be a few months. The dog grew up. So there was like this story that a major cast member was going to have to be recast. And everybody was freaking out. And it was the dog. They originally were supposed to have a dog, like Charmaine's dog or whatever, some other dog. And with the pandemic and everything, they're like, no, we're not dealing with a dog. Sorry, no. She vetoed dealing with a dog. And so they kind of put that on the back burner. But they did want to bring a dog in. So it's a different dog. And apparently this one was not well trained, and I guess the dog actually had other scenes that they couldn't do because he was just or she, I don't know exactly if it's a boy or a girl, was unruly. And so some of the dog scenes had to be cut, or they couldn't do them, or they couldn't do them in the way that they wanted to throughout the season because the dog just didn't cooperate the way that they should. It's like they say never work with animals and children because
Those
it's
children.
unpredictable. Well, that just proves it. So the
Yeah.
dog Pony, so she gets up and she's petting the dog, and Jack's like, "Did Everett say whether he wanted us to bring anything?" Mel's like, he said no. She goes, "Since it's the first time he's invited us to dinner, I got a nice bottle of wine and, flowers and a dessert." And while she's telling him this, she's grabbing the dog's bowl and she's getting him some water and some food and taking care of the little dog. And Jack's like, "Sure, you're not trying to butter him up." And she goes, "Well, maybe a little bit." So he's getting ready. He's changing. And she's like, "But since I've been going through their old letters," she's like, I feel like he knows my mom so much more than I ever have." She goes, "I was really hoping that he would help me figure out a way to honor her at our wedding, And he's like, "Oh, that would be really nice." She goes, "But every time I broach the subject, he dodges the conversation." So they have talked over the 4 months. It doesn't sound like he's let her in very much, and it doesn't sound like they're very chummy at all. It sounds like he's sort of kept her at a distance. So if this is 4 months later, the first time they're having dinner, I mean, it's taken 4 months to get to this point. They're getting married in 3 weeks. That's
Yeah,
tough.
I think he's still apprehensive. Let's just say.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's been years. So, goodness. And Jack's like, "Well, maybe you just got to find the right moment." So he goes into the bathroom. I guess he's going to get a shower because they're going to dinner. And she's like, "So what kept you late at the barn?" She's like, "Some more duct work?" And he laughs. And he's like, "No, I was talking to Preacher." And it's funny because you've got this like split shot where she's standing in the kitchen leaning against their adorable little 3/4 refrigerator, kind of looking into space. So he's in the bathroom looking at the bathroom sink, sort of into space. And he's like, "Well, he comes out and he's leaning against the bathroom doorway and he goes, 'It's Preacher.' Unflinching. Just charging into this like it's any other battle." And she's like, "I hate that he's going through this." She's like, "I can't imagine our wedding without him." And Jack's like, "No, he's going to be there. And God willing, I am going to learn our wedding dance." And he grabs her and he pulls her into like a waltzy kind of a hold. And she's like, "Oh, yeah?" And he's like, "Mm-hmm." And they start like dancing through the living room. She goes, "Well, just remember what Antoine says." And he's like, "Hmm?" She's like, "It's not about the moves." And he's like, "Uh-huh." She goes, "It's about the eyes." And she's like all kind of like waving herself around and kind of look at him with her eyes and kind of shaking her shoulders. And he's like, "It's about the love." She's like, "We don't have time for this," as he pulls her on top of him onto the bed. So, yeah, they might be a little late for dinner. Who knows?
Yeah.
We're now at Everett's cabin, and they've got jazz music playing in the background. They're having dinner together. So Jack is checking out Everett's record collection. He's got tons of vinyls. And he even says, he goes, "Now this is one hell of a record collection you got here, Everett." He's like, "Thanks, Jack." He goes, "My folks had a turntable just like this." And he goes, "Every Sunday we would listen to Motown and the Beach Boys." And Mel's kind of just walking around looking at pictures. And she picks up this one picture of a young man sitting on like a lawn chair with a guitar in front of a fireplace. And it's actually a picture of Everett when he was young. We'll find out more about that picture later. She's like, "This is a really cool photo. Is this you?" And he's like, "Yeah, thanks." He's like, "Well, hope you both like rabbit stew." And Jack looks and he's like, "Huh?" As he's looking at more vinyls. And Mel's like, "You have a thing for rabbit." Because remember the first time she went over there? He was braising a rabbit or something.
It's pretty good. You just have to know how to cook it.
No thanks, I'm good. And he's like, "Oh, it's almost as good as possum roadkill." And Mel kind of makes a face. She's like, "Huh? What? No. And then he lifts the lid and she looks at it and she's like, "That's kind of a funny looking rabbit. Well, I thought you said you liked roasted chicken with rosemary." So he's just messing with her. She's like, I take it you're a musician. He goes, yep, from the day I could pick up a guitar. And they all sit down together. He's like, my mom was a music teacher and my dad played piano at a big fancy hotel. And Mel's pouring wine for everybody. And Jack looks at Mel and he goes, aw, grandparents. Like she's hearing about her grandparents. Big smile.
Yeah.
And Jack's like, so were you a teacher like your mom? And he goes, no, I was in a band actually. Jack's like, cool. He goes, yeah, we went on a few tours. Pacific Northwest mostly. Cut a few EPs. And Mel's like, are you kidding? Like, just flabbergasted. He's like, yeah. She's like, do you have any? And he's like, no, that was a long time ago. And he almost looks sad about it. She goes, hey, are you okay? But then he's like, almost like he's trying to catch his breath. Like, she's not sure what's going on with him. And he was like, yeah. She's like, your breathing sounds a little off. The nurse in her, oh, she can't help herself. And he goes, well, that's probably just hay fever. Like he's blowing it off like it's nothing. And then he changes the subject. He's like, so tell me about the wedding. And Jack's like, well, we're still working on our vows. Mel's looking concerned, but she's going to go with it. He goes, writing those. Mel's working on her dress. And she's like, yeah. He goes, I still got to pick out a suit. He looks at her and he's like, what else? And she's like, and I'm still trying to find a way to honor my mom at the wedding. And I was hoping that maybe you could tell me a little bit more about her when she was here. Maybe I could find something that... And he's like, oh, we need a carving knife. Excuse me. Jack, you said you grew up listening to Motown, right? It's like, boy... Talk about shutting her down.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time she brings up her mom, he just dodges it. And he just did it again. And he's like, yeah, Motown. I've got the Temptations' first album out there somewhere. It's so good. And, you know, her heart is just breaking. And he grabs her hand. He holds her hand. It's like she's trying so hard because he's the only one that knows anything. There's a big part of her mom's life that she doesn't know anything about. And... he's the only one that has the answers, and he is not giving them up. It's so frustrating. And Jack's like, yeah, we should totally listen to that. That'd be great. Ugh, such a shame. So we're at the fire department, and Kaya is punching the heck out of a bag. And look who's holding it. It's Brady. And he has a T-shirt on from the fire department that says volunteer. Now, early before the season started, one of the things that was said was that Brady would be a volunteer firefighter, which is kind of cool because remember, it was because of him setting backfires that he learned how to do because he was in jail that saved the bar. So it seems like a somewhat obvious thought that he might want to go into helping with the fire department. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really say what kind of job he has. Like, he's a volunteer, so that means he's not getting paid. So hopefully he actually has a job. I don't know. We'll see. So
he may be putting on the money.
Yeah. I mean, he's supposed to be getting a settlement from Emerald Lumber. Remember, he was supposed to get a settlement from when the fires destroyed Emerald Lumber and all of that. So maybe that's the money that he's living on. Who knows? So he's holding the punching bag for Kaya, and he's like, geez, Chief, what'd this bag ever do to you? And she's like, the closer we get to Preacher's trial, the more I just want to hit things. He goes, all right, well, get it out. Like, take it out on the bag. And she's like, you've known him a long time. She goes, any other big surprises or secrets I should know about? And he's like, secrets with Preach? He goes, I mean, he and I have always had our issues, but, you know, he's a good, honorable man. Yeah, she goes, I'll tell you one thing, though. He's got a hell of a lawyer. She goes, yeah, Bree's the best. And he's like, yeah, she is. She goes, how did you manage to screw that up? Oh, boy, don't hold back. Tell us how you really feel.
Oh, that's Kaya for you.
He's like, well, I wasn't as honest with her as I should have been. She's like, oh, so secrets ruined your relationship. He's like, yeah, one. Well, she goes, super helpful. He goes, yeah. Kaya's like, thanks, cadet. She just keeps on punching. So now we're at Doc and Hope's, and the two of them, they're coming in from being out, and she's like, oh, I could barely keep up with you this morning, Vernon. He goes, well, maybe I'm finally ready for Tour de France. So they must have gone bike riding because they both have bike helmets in their hands and water bottles. Nice that they remain active. She goes, oh, maybe you are. You certainly don't look like a man who's about to celebrate his clinic's 30th anniversary. He's like, all right, now, just take it easy on the anniversary stuff. Like, he doesn't like to think about that it's been that long. Because remember last season, he said, I've almost been here for 30 years. Well, now it's actually, we're coming up on that anniversary. That's crazy. He's like, why? Why? He goes, oh, because there's more things going on that are more important, like Mel and Jack's wedding, okay? And she's like,
Yeah.
and she's like, did you take your suit to the cleaner? And he's like, not yet. She goes, but it's nice they're honoring both of us in their ceremony. He goes, yes, it is, and we will try to look our best. She goes, you're already looking pretty good, Vernon, as she gives him a kiss. They're so cute. She goes, mm-hmm. You are looking as beautiful as the day we met. She's like, oh, your eyes really are working well. And he's like, uh-huh, because remember, he was worried he wouldn't be able to see her. But since his eyes are working good, he could see her. She's like, and since I'm able to remember how good I looked the day we met, my brain must be working great too. These two. And then Denny, who's like sitting in the
They're
other
so
room,
adorable.
like he clears his throat because the two of them are kind of making out. I mean, whatever.
Exactly.
That's what they're doing. And Denny's like, he's like, oh, hi. Just wanted you guys to know I was here in case, things started to, progress like last time. Oh. And then they look at each other. Oh, that was a good time. So this must have happened before. Oh my God. Bunch of horny toads in this house. She goes, oh, that was a good time. And then from the other direction, we see Lizzie, who's not looking very happy. She's like, of course, the first morning I'm actually hungry is the first morning I have to fast for my stupid gestational diabetes test. Being pregnant sucks. She goes, why don't more women talk about this? She's got her hands on her hips. And she goes, good morning, Lizzie. She goes, agree to disagree. And she kind of goes over to Denny. You could see how big her belly is. Like, she's pretty pregnant. She was probably 3 months.
Right. Exactly. I was now about to say that.
At Christmas, because remember, she got pregnant. She revealed it at Labor Day. And then by Christmas, she was about 3 months. So now she's about 7 months. So she says to Denny, and did you pull an all-nighter last night? So he must have gotten something's going on with him. He's got a Stanford sweatshirt on, and he's like, I got a biology midterm today. I just wanted to crush it. So he must have gone back to school. She's like, I know getting your degree online is not like going to Stanford, but we're very glad you're continuing your education, Doc tells him. So that's really nice. He goes, especially in the pre-med track. And Hope's like, you better get all the sleep you can now, because in a few months, as they're eating raspberries, you both will be pulling plenty of all-nighters. They're like looking at the berries. She goes, oh, aren't these delicious? Sorry, Lizzie, because Lizzie can't eat anything. So cute. And he's like, hey, Denny says to Lizzie, we got this, because she just looks sad. He gives her a kiss. She takes a deep breath. She's feeling a little better. So now we're at Bree's house. Now remember, she is Preacher's lawyer. So she's got a lot of prep work to do and research and whatever it is she's doing to get ready. And
okay, I'm just going to say this before we get to the next thing.
Yeah.
Love the house and love in the kitchen. Just saying.
I just love her house. When she first moved in.
Yeah.
Love her place.
I mean, it's not as I think the best kitchen in the entire place is Preacher's. But
yeah, I agree.
But she's got an awesome place.
Yeah, her place is amazing. It's very modern. She's got a beautiful patio outside. She's got a nice big open concept kitchen, living room, dining room area. And who's coming down the steps looking very sexy? Mike. She's like, hey. And he's got a jacket that he puts over the chair. And he's like, she's just, and Bree's like, the prosecutor keeps screwing me, constantly throwing more discovery at me. And Mike's like, well, I warned you, Jenkins is shady. And he's like, something else going on? She's like, I just haven't been this stressed about going to court since Dawn's trial. And he's like, why? And he grabs her hand. He stops her. He kind of tries to have her focus, looks into her eyes. And he's like, you were a badass then. And I have no doubt that you're going to be a badass again tomorrow. And she's like, I hope you're right. He's like, and I'm going to be in the courtroom right there with you. And he holds her face. He's like, so if you get nervous, all you need to do is just picture me in my underwear. And they both start laughing. That's like an old thing. Isn't that like from
Yeah,
the Brady Bunch or
from
something?
stage. Yeah, it's a thing about people being on stage. If they get nervous, just picture the whole audience
In
being
their
naked.
underwear, yeah. She goes, yeah, I don't think that's how it works, but thanks. They start laughing. It's cute. He shrugs his shoulders. He's like, maybe. And she gives him a nice kiss. She goes, okay, I'm going to get ready. I love you. And he's like, love you. Oh, so I don't know if they're living together or what, but So Muriel, remember in the meeting that they had, the first staff meeting they had months ago, which was last season, that the one thing she wanted was a desk. Well, just as you walk in the front door, there's a lovely desk, and that's
And
Muriel
there is. Mhm.
as the office manager.
Something Mel never got.
No, Mel never got anything. She probably still doesn't have one. Muriel's answering the phone. She's like, doctor's office, as she heads to her desk, and Mel walks in. And Muriel's like, right, okay, well, let me see how I can squeeze you in. She looks at Mel. She hands Mel a tablet, probably has whatever's going on for the day. And Mel sees Denny and Lizzie. And she's like, good morning, and how are we feeling? Lizzie is not looking happy, and Denny's like, she's a little cranky. And Lizzie looks at him, and she's like, she can also hear you. Like, don't talk about me like I'm not here. She goes, I'm cranky because I'm starving. Can we get this test over with? And Mel's like, yes, of course. She goes, I have to check in with Doc real quick, so why don't you two head to the birthing center, and I'll be right there. And Denny's like, okay, let's go. Ooh, they have an actual birthing center. So there's a knock at the door, and Doc is like on the phone or on probably a telemedicine call. He's like, well, try a low dose of antihistamine every 4 hours and see how that works. If it doesn't, maybe drop in and see me tomorrow morning. And
Did you imagine this at the first time that Mel
never.
came here?
He didn't even like to use his phone. I mean, there's no way.
Consultations over the phone, video phone. I love.
Oh my gosh. And so the woman is like, will do. Thanks, Doc. And he's like, my pleasure, Estelle. And he closes the laptop and she's like, hey. She goes, hi, it's packed this morning. And he's like, and I am ready for it. And she's like, wow, all right. So how was the ophthalmologist? And he's like, my vision is great and she doesn't need to see me again for 4 months. She goes, that's fantastic. He goes, yeah. He goes, yeah, this clinic has endured for 30 years, showing no signs of slowing down. She goes, yes, I know, I've heard. He goes, and neither am I. And they both sort of laugh. And she's like, good. She's like, so are you still feeling like we don't need to replace Cameron? Or he goes, yes, absolutely. I spoke to him a few days ago, and it sounds like things are going well between him and his ex-fiancée. And in his absence, I'd say we are doing very well here. So she's like, yes. He goes, I just wish it wasn't so damn hard on as footsteps come in. Muriel! She's like, hello. She goes, Mel, Beth Ann Kilmer is having some back pain, and she needs to see you this morning. So I had a dip in your lunch, and also Mr. Porter is here to get a shingles vaccine, and now he has some questions. So can you fit him in too? Mel's like, I'm on it, yes. And Muriel's like, okay. It's like, she goes, Doc, could you get me Mr. Porter's chart? Everybody seems a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, everyone is just slightly uncomfortable. So Doc gets up, and he's looking for the chart, and Mel secretly hands Muriel a card that she pulled out from under her jacket that she's wearing. And Muriel slips it in between the tablet that she has with her. So they just needed to distract Doc because it's probably like the 30th anniversary card, but she needed to give it to her. She could have just waited and given it to her in the kitchen, but whatever. So she gets the chart from Doc. Mel's on her way, smiling at Muriel, and off she goes. And Muriel's like, and you can stop worrying about me. And Doc is like, what? And she's like, look, I will admit it was hard at first, and I had higher hopes for me and for that May-December romance, but it's April, and hope springs eternal, as she smiles. He goes, I don't regret falling for Cameron. Our time together actually gave me, a new sense of romantic possibility. And Doc's like, I know you will bounce back. She's like, oh, yes, I will. So Mel is heading outside. She's got some things with her. She heads out the porch, down some steps, and through a fence with a sign on it that says Virgin River Birthing Center. And it's like a little building on the property. It's so cute. It's like a real place. It's almost like a little house that they built behind the property of the clinic. It's
Yeah.
got its own gate, its own separate area.
Right. But the way it's set up, it's just like if you went to a birthing center, that's how they set it up. So they have the water, they have the tub for water births, the bouncy bowl.
Looks like the front is a reception desk and
right. And then you see the lights for when they want to bring the lights down because some mothers are affected by light.
Mm-hmm. So they have like a full functioning birthing center that's now up and
pretty
running
much.
Because it's been 4 months. It's new. This may be the first baby born there. I don't know. We're gonna find out, but I guarantee it hasn't been open for very long because it takes time to build stuff like this. So Mel's like, hi, sorry for the wait. And she's like, busy day? She goes, oh my gosh, busy month. She goes, opening this place and the wedding, it's been a lot. So yeah, it's very recent. Denny says that the birthing center is going to help a lot of people. And Lizzie's like, and the wedding is going to be beautiful. She goes, Hope still has a lot of ideas, though. Just warning you. It's cute because Denny and Lizzie are sitting there. She's in overalls with her big pregnant belly. They're holding hands and, oh, they're so cute. And Mel's like, oh, yes, I'm sure Hope does. She always has a lot of ideas and a lot of opinions. So Mel's like, I know you're cranky and you want to get this test over with. She goes, but what do you guys say we do a really quick ultrasound to check on your baby girl? And they're like, yes, please. So now we're at Jack's bar. The lady, Hope, is like, have you seen Preacher today? And Lydia's like, I heard that he's been spending a lot of time over at Mel and Jack's. So we've got Hope and Liddy and Joellen and Connie all sitting down having coffee together. And Joellen's like, my heart just breaks for him. And Connie's like, well, I told him several times I'm not above perjuring myself to offer up an alibi. Because she had said that before. You know what's funny? Do you remember right after the fire?
Yeah.
And Muriel was in the kitchen because she was going to stay with Cameron because she didn't have anywhere to go because her place was smoke. Right. And she had to borrow clothes from Connie and Lizzie. Mm-hmm. And she had this light blue sweatshirt on with a cat. And he was like, what are you wearing? And he was making fun of her. Connie has that same sweatshirt on. So clearly it's part of Connie's wardrobe rotation. Oh, my gosh. So Hope says to Connie, we're already dealing with one felony, Connie. So Muriel walks in and she's like, hi. And she goes, hey, Hannah, just here to pick up the clinic's lunches. There's Hannah. She's back. She goes, okay, let me grab them. And she goes, all right. She hands Hope the card, and she goes, who hasn't signed the card yet? And Liddy hasn't, so she takes it. Muriel looks at everybody, and she's like, why the long faces? And Connie's like, well, we've been talking about Preacher. And she's like, oh, yeah. She goes, well, I saw him here last night, and he's staying very positive. So I think we should all stay positive for him. Hannah comes up. She's like, here you go. Muriel's like, thanks, doll. She gets the lunches. She goes, it's such a beautiful day. Make sure you get outside and spend some time and soak up the vitamin D. Bye. And Joellen's like, oh, poor thing. And Hope's like, what do you mean? Joellen's like, well, obvious. She's still heartbroken over Cameron. And Hope's like, it's obvious? And Connie was like, yeah, she was just beside herself at Mel and Jack's yesterday. And Hope's like, was she? And Joellen's like, we need to help her. And Hope's like, I really think she's okay. Liddy's like, oh, we should really play matchmaker. Oh, no. Oh, no. And all the ladies get excited. They're like, oh, someone has to prevent the next Virgin River wildfire.
Oh, Lord, help us.
She goes, so we're clearing out old brush near Boulder Creek. So any volunteers? She goes, oh, I'm sure she would like a date for Mel and Jack's wedding. And Joellen's like, yes. And Hope gets pissed. She's like, you all stay and save Muriel's love life. I'm going to go save the town. Again. They're like, oh, yeah, have fun. And they just get back to planning. She goes, how about we try one of those newfangled dating apps? And so they're all talking about it. It's kind of funny. So Mel's in the kitchen, and she's having a cup of coffee. She's sitting at the little table, and Doc walks in. And he's like, 2 ships passing in the afternoon. Mel laughs. She's like, hey, Doc, I wanted to ask you. It's like, I know things are complicated with you and Everett, but I just wanted to know if he's ever come in with a respiratory problem. He goes, Everett Reed has never set one foot inside this clinic. He's got his lunch. He's going to sit down. She goes, is that because you two don't get along? He goes, oh, I would not presume to know what goes on in that man's mind. Mel's just standing next to him with her arms folded, kind of like, oh my God, nobody is going to give me answers. She goes, well, I wish I knew what was going on with his lungs. And Doc's like, look, I tried to help him a long time ago, but my guess is you're running into the same issues. She's like, well, it's a good thing that stubborn old men are my specialty. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah.
That's a good line.
That's
a good line.
That's a really good line. And he just looks at her like, ugh. He's like, yeah. So now we are out in the wilderness, and we've got probably Kaya with all of the firemen. Brady's there, and he's like, keep to the line of the road. Chainsaws are buzzing, and so there's volunteers out there, and they're basically clearing brush due to the fire, and probably to prevent other things from happening later. Hope is moving some branches, and she doesn't have any gloves on, and Brady's like, I got an extra pair of gloves if you want them. And she's like, no, I'm not afraid to get my hands a little dirty. And they kind of laugh. And Kaya's like, once we clear this section of brush, we can start scheduling controlled burns for the fall. And Hope's like, great. And she's like, ow. He goes, maybe I will borrow those gloves after all. So Brady's going to go get the gloves. And Kaya sees a horse in the background. And she's like, oh my God. And Hope's like, it's just a splinter, Kaya. Like, she doesn't know that she's looking at a horse. And she runs over. And Brady runs after. Everybody starts running toward the horse. Oh, looks like the horse is injured. And some of the guys very gingerly go up to it. And Hope's like, oh, he's all cut up. And everybody's like, easy. You don't want to spook him. And Hope's like, I know what I'm doing. She goes right up to the horse. And she's like, it's okay. She goes, we got to cut this wire away. Brady, do you have anything on you? And he's like, yep. Because I guess there's wire wrapped around. And Hope is like, This is Sugar. She goes, it's Lily Anderson's horse Sugar. Must have been lost in the fires. She goes, oh, he's not lost anymore. Good horse. She's like, oh, sweetheart. She's stroking his mane, and she gives him a big hug. Now, while they were still filming, they always have a wrap party at the end of the season. And the crew gets gifts. Sometimes, and a lot of times, Alex Breckenridge and Martin Henderson, they together give a gift to the whole cast. And this, for season 6, everybody got something that had a horse on it. Now, they showed the gift, but they wouldn't say why that was significant.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we know Sugar is back, and Sugar must hold some significance for the season if they went so far as to put it on the wrap gift that there's a horse. It has to do with a horse. I mean, they have a farm, there's a barn, horses go in barns. I mean, you could make that connection, but I think it's very specific to this horse. I think it was cool. So it's significant that they did that for this season. So we are at Everett's cabin. And Mel is confronting Everett. And he's like, you came all the way out here just to ask me this? And she's like, look, just curious, kind of an occupational hazard, because, she's a nurse. She can't let it go. So he's breathing kind of like raggedy. And he's like, you have nothing to worry about. She doesn't buy it because she just has a bad feeling something's up. She goes, well, yep. I'm also your daughter. So I'm going to worry if I think something's wrong. She goes, last night your breathing was off, and it still is. And he's starting to get a little pissed with her, but his breathing is not improving. And he's like, I am perfectly healthy. She goes, then you won't mind coming down to the clinic for a checkup.
Oh, Lord.
He's like, Mel, my health is none of your concern.
Great.
And she's like, maybe you should let me manage my concerns. And his breathing is more raggedy. He goes, well, and you let me manage my health. And she's like, do you notice your breathing right now? He's like, it's because you're pissing me off. She goes, well, you're pissing me off. She goes, look, I get it. You don't want to talk about the past. Okay, that is absolutely fine. But this could be serious, and it affects our future. And she's getting upset. And he starts wheezing. He's like, it's nothing serious. And she's like, you don't know that. She goes, please, just let me take you to the clinic. And we can see Doc. And he goes, over my dead body. And he's grunting. And she goes, why don't you want to do that? And he goes,
And you can tell he's uncomfortable by the
oh,
way he.
and he's getting a
Oh.
little like uneasy. And he's like, no, you're just going to die alone. And he's holding on to the table and he's bent
Mm.
over and he's like, that was the plan. And she's like, are you? And then she sees him sort of catch himself as he's almost falling. She goes, wait, sit down. And she sits him in a chair. She goes like, let me check your pulse. And he's grunting. She goes, okay, we need to go to the clinic. Now, I'm taking you to the clinic. Like, she's not taking no for an answer. She's making him get up. She's like, I got you. She is not giving him a second chance. So we're back at Mel and Jack's new house. And Jack and Preacher are working on the roof. And Preacher's like, Bree wants me at the courthouse in the morning. So let's grab those last 2 bags of shingles and call it a day. Because it looks like the sun's going down. It's getting to be the end of the day. They got to kind of call it. And Jack's like, Mel and I have a dance class in a few hours. He's like, but, I'd be more than happy to reschedule if you think you might want to come back to the cabin and grab dinner with us. Preacher's like, yeah, thanks, but I'm meeting Kaya at the bar. And they're carrying stuff out of the back of the truck, last-minute deliveries. And he goes, well, why don't you bring her along? I think she's looking forward to being just the 2 of us tonight. I mean, I don't think the trial will happen all in one day, but, just getting into it and having to deal with it is going to kind of hold a lot of space as far as, like, distract him from everything else that's going on once the trial starts.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack's like, okay, listen. He's like, no one would think less of you if you brought Paige into this. And Preacher's like, can't do it, Jack. Like, it's very matter of fact. And he's like, she didn't murder him, Jack. It was an accident. And Jack's like, yeah, I know. I believe that. And a jury might too. And he's like, when Paige ran with Christopher, Wes filed restraining orders against her, intentionally making her look like the bad parent while he was beating the crap out of her. I can't risk it for her. I can't risk it for Christopher. They've been through enough. You'd do the same if you were in my shoes. And Jack's like, yeah, and if you were in my shoes, you'd be suggesting the same thing. He goes, yeah. Then you understand, if I give her up now, this will all have been for nothing. He goes, but this is your life, man. Think about Kaya. Think about all the people that don't want to lose you. He goes, yeah, and I am. And I hate bringing Kaya into this. Look, I hate bringing all of you into this. He's like, preach. You can't go to jail for the rest of your life for something that you didn't do, okay? He goes, I won't let you. He goes, and I need everyone on my side to believe that. Jack looks like he's going to cry.
Well, it's his best friend. And he sees that without Paige's testimony, the odds of what's going to happen don't look good. Now, yes, Bree is good, but this prosecutor is out for blood. He's more than willing to go underhanded to do it. And that's what I think Jack's freaked out about.
He's worried. Yeah. I mean, Wes was a bad cop. They proved that he was a dirty cop, but the fact that he was a cop, it's almost like it weighs more. And that sucks. I mean, it doesn't matter that Preacher's like been an upstanding citizen his entire life.
Yeah.
But it would help him, but they can't guarantee that the prosecutor won't turn around and arrest Paige. Just like, make her go through this whole thing. And then what's going to happen to Christopher? Christopher would go into the system because he doesn't have any family. Because his uncle is in jail and his father is dead and his mother goes to jail. He's got nobody. And Preacher is not willing to risk that. Maybe that would help him, but it may not help her. And it's not worth it. Like he said, they've been through enough and he's not going to put them through anymore. So we're just going to have to hope that the jury believes Preacher and that Bree can be the badass lawyer that she is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just hard. And Preacher's like, I'll see you at the courtroom tomorrow. And he just leaves. It's like you're not going to change his mind, you know? So Doc's at the clinic and he hears the door open and it's Mel and she's like, Doc. And Mel's like, it's all right. And she's dragging Everett in. The last person this man wants to see is Doc. But he's not doing real well right now. She's like, hey. And they stare at each other like they've seen a ghost.
Well, I don't think either one of them wants to be there.
No. And she yells at Doc. She goes, can you help me, please? Like she's scolding him. She's like, please. And he lays down. They've got him hooked up to oxygen. She goes, okay, the good news is it wasn't a heart attack. But we can tell by your rhythm that you have atrial fibrillation. They call it AFib. See, AFib is very common in folks our age, but easy to manage. So Mel looks like she has a syringe, probably with some medicine that's going to help. And Doc's like, and the best way to remedy this quickly is with something called cardioversion. And he's like, yeah, we'll give your heart a little shock and bring it back into rhythm. Everett doesn't look thrilled about this situation right now. Doc grabs the paddles, and he's like, who's doing the shocking? And Doc's like, I am. And Everett's like hell you will. He goes, you are not telling me what I can and can't do in my own clinic. Got that? Doc is pissed. And Mel jumps in and she's like, okay, I will do the procedure. And we'll sedate you so you won't feel anything. And she looks at Doc, and Doc's like, all right, fine. So she takes the paddles, he takes the syringe, and Everett's like, okay, fine. Like he reluctantly agrees with it. And she looks at him and she's like, you are in good hands, I promise. Smiles, but he's not thrilled. But he doesn't really have a choice. I mean, he's sort of in a bad way right now.
Yep.
So the sun's going down. Brady is at the bar. He's sitting at the bar with his laptop having a beer, and Lark shows up. And she's like, hey. And he's like, damn. So what's going on? She goes, why am I dressed up? She goes, why is Joellen babysitting Hazel tonight? And he kind of like raises his eyebrows as he looks at her. Now you figure it's been 4 months. He still doesn't know that Jimmy is Hazel's father and that she's in cahoots. So that means she's been stringing him along this whole time. They've been together this whole time.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's like, he's in deep.
Yeah.
So they've been together for 5 months now. Ooh, she is just stringing him along. So he's like, you got the insurance check? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, congratulations, big kiss. Uh-oh. And she's like, what is that? And she's looking at the laptop. And he goes, oh, it's nothing. And she goes, come on, let me look. And he goes, well, when I lost my cabin and the lumber yard, I started thinking about what I wanted to do with the money. And it's this. He goes, I want to buy an old garage and turn it into a motorcycle shop and name it after my uncle. She goes, oh, that's so sweet. It's always been a dream of mine. Bikes kept me out of trouble when I was a kid. And this is the way I want to pay it forward. And he's just got pictures of this bike shop, maybe that's for sale or for lease, that's in Virgin River. And it looks like it's about 3,000 square feet. It's only $1,500 a month. That's pretty cheap. So it's totally affordable and you can get a little business going. He goes, who knows? Maybe one day I can teach Hazel how to ride. And she looks at him. She goes, I don't know if I'm ready for that. But if there's anyone I trust to teach her anything, it'd be you. He goes, this money is about to change a lot of things. And she's smiling. She's like, for all of us. He's like, for all of us. And gives her a kiss. So it looks like they're really together.
Yeah, well, if Mike moved in with Bree, there's, lots of things happening in the last 4 months.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know, but and you wonder if she's been with him this long. Obviously, she knows Jimmy's a bad guy because clearly he's in jail. But is she faking it anymore? Is this real? Like, has anything changed for her? Is she still trying to swindle him? Like, was she really after him for the money? Was she really after him for revenge? Like, we don't know the motivation. This will all come out eventually. So Mel is back at Everett's cabin. It looks like she's bringing him home. The procedure must have worked, and he must be well enough that he can go home because she's driving him back. They're just kind of sitting in the car. And she's like, even though your heart is back to normal rhythm, you're probably going to be tired the next few days. So just stay hydrated and get some rest. And he's like, all right. She goes, and I can stay over tonight if you need an extra hand. He goes, oh, no, that's very generous of you, Mel. It'll be okay. She's like, okay. I also want you to start thinking about changing your diet. And he looks at her, takes a deep breath, and he's like, no more rabbit? She's like, no more rabbit. He's like, all right.
This sounds like when
Hope
had to change her diet.
Change your diet, get some, yeah. So she's like, and get some daily exercise. And he's like, I'm not used to this. She goes, well, I can go for walks with you. He's like, no. I mean, having someone look after me. Because you figure, once her mother died and he disappeared into the wilderness, Nobody. He doesn't have children. He didn't get married. Like, he's by himself. He's been by himself for 30 some years. Well, she was 11. So at least 25 plus years.
Well, he's the prime example of what you would call a hermit.
Oh, yes. And he lives in the perfect place for it, out in the wilderness.
Tell me about it.
And he's had no one worry about him, think about him, care about him. I mean, we don't know if he has brothers or sisters or parents or anybody left. We have no idea. He has not mentioned anyone, and it doesn't seem like anyone has any contact with him, at least from town. So he must like slip in and get groceries and slip back out again. Maybe he's independently wealthy. Like, who knows? I mean, he said he was in a band, but that was years ago. You know, what does he do for money? Like, we don't know anything about this guy. He's literally off the grid. This is weird for him to have somebody care about him. He's like, you know that old photo in my living room that you liked? He's like, with the guitar? He's like, your mom took it. He's like, I think it's time I tell you more about her. This is what she's been waiting for. Finally. Finally. I think she just needed to break through his hard exterior and show that he could trust her. I mean, it took all this time, and it took him almost collapsing and her like forcing him to let her care about him for this to happen. But he's finally ready. Thank goodness. Good Lord.
Yeah, well, I think part of it is too that he wasn't sure he wanted to while he acknowledged that he's her father.
Yeah.
He wasn't sure if he was.
That might have been enough.
Needed. Yeah, he wasn't sure what she actually needed from him.
And that's the thing. She never wanted anything. She literally just wanted to be acknowledged.
Right, but I think he needed to
feel that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He takes a deep breath. And she's like, why don't you get some rest and I'll come check on you in the morning. He's like, yeah. He's like, good night, Mel. She's like, good night. She's getting all teary. Like, she's finally broken through. I mean, at least he's going to talk about her mother. He hasn't actually done it yet, so, I mean, she doesn't want to feel too confident, but she takes a deep breath like, oh, finally a breakthrough. We're back at Hope and Doc's house, and Lizzie is laying in bed with her belly, and Denny is rubbing her feet. And she's like, Lizzie looks very relaxed laying on the bed. She goes, was this part of your biology midterm? And she got a nice smile on her face. She's very relaxed. And he's like, well, actually, I watched about 12 different YouTube videos on how to manage feet swelling. I got some Epsom salts to reduce inflammation. And he grabs a pillow and he goes, you should elevate your feet to give your circulatory system a little boost from gravity. And he puts a pillow under there. And he goes, and I got some magnesium supplements too. And she's like, paging Dr. Denny. He goes, I just want to help. They're kind of cute. She goes, or maybe you just want to play doctor. And she's like, isn't that what got you pregnant to begin with? That's funny. He goes, I don't know. I'm just inspired, I guess. She's like, going back to school is really, got me thinking about practicing medicine someday. She goes, hey, maybe you should ask Doc about working at the clinic. Seemed like they could use some extra help. It's actually a really good idea. She goes, it could be like an internship or something. And he's like, yeah, I was just more interested in emergency medicine. Whose experience is experience. And Lizzie's like, plus, I think you could use more patients than just me and the baby. And he's like, She's like, think about it. It's actually a really good idea. She goes, but you can think while you massage my feet. And he's like, oh, sorry. As she just sits back and enjoys the foot massage. Now, this is really cute. The barn, which is not quite finished yet, it's late at night and there's a window that shows the moonlight through it. And it highlights this central area, this open area. And Mel and Jack are dancing right in the center. And they always pick great music for this. But they're doing sort of a waltz type dance. And I guess somebody stepped on somebody's foot or something. And it's like, uh-oh. And she's like, what's going on? And he's like, I shouldn't have said anything to Preacher. He's like, he's got enough going on in his head. And she goes, oh, honey, you care about him. He goes, I love him. He's the closest thing to a brother I have left. And the song is Let's Stay Together. That's what's playing. It's a really good song. And she's like, okay, all right, come on, chin up, arms strong, ready. And they 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And they're trying to like follow their dance lesson steps. And he goes, okay, it's called the waltz, not the walks. And they start giggling a little bit. She's like, okay, I got it. And she's laughing. She's like, you have to glide. You have to move your body. And she's like shaking her shoulders. And he's like, oh, I like it when you're bossy. And he's like, oh. He goes, well, it's all about the eyes. So they're back with the eyes again. And she's like, it's about the dance. And he's like, it's about our love. And then they start kissing. And he's like, forget dancing then. And they're just like making out in the middle of the thing. And Antoine, now, I don't know if you remember, I want to say, maybe season 2. Remember when Muriel was trying to get her grips into Doc and she took Doc to a dance class and then
That's right. Yep.
Hope decided she was going to join it, and then she actually got scolded because she didn't have great form, but Doc and Muriel were doing so well. And she was dancing with the dance instructor. It's the same dance instructor. They brought him back. I mean, this is the only scene he has, but his accent and everything, you recognize him. At least I recognize him. Maybe not everybody will recognize him, but it's the same guy. And he's like, oh, I see we have a lot of work to do, in his very strong accent. And they stop to dance, and they look at him. They're holding each other, and he's like, vamos, more dancing, less kissing. And he's like clapping his hands like, let's get to it. So funny. So we are back at Jack's bar, and Kaya is in the kitchen. She's pulling something out of the oven. She's got her oven mitts on, and Preacher walks into the kitchen, and he's like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm cooking. I'm like, what do you think I'm doing? And she's got
Kaya doesn't cook.
No. She has a big smile on her face. And he's like, well, what, for the customers? And she's like, oh, no, I just thought I'd take dinner off your hands for once. But I didn't have time to grocery shop, so I raided your walk-in.
Oh, Lord.
And he's like, huh. She's like, can you get me some parsley? He's like a head taller than her, like literally like a foot. He is so tall. And he's like, parsley? She's like, uh-huh. He's like, okay. So he goes over. He goes, well, that smells good. He goes, I haven't seen you cook before. She goes, oh, I know how to make one thing, and it's baked ziti. And he looks at her. She goes, my mom begged me to master one dish, and this is it. The only thing she knows how to make. She goes, recipes from the noodle box, but it's made with love. He's like, thank you. She's, oh, no, don't thank me yet. She looks at it. She's like, I mean, the look on her face is kind of like apprehensive about how this is going to come out.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
The problem with, I have to take this somewhat personally. The problem with when you're like a chef, like I used to be a pastry chef, and people bake something and you come over and they go, oh, it's not going to be as good as yours, and it's like, I'm not here to judge you.
Right.
You do the best that you can with what you got. And I think she's doing the same thing.
Right. Yeah. Because he's like, thanks. And she's like, oh, don't thank me yet. She's like, you were out of Parmesan, so I had to use Gorgonzola. And he's like, okay. He looks a little apprehensive. I don't know. She looks a little nervous. And she looks it up, and because now, they got to get to it. Like, how are you feeling? Because the next morning they got to go to court. And he's like, yeah, confident. She's like, good. Takes a deep breath. He's like, if you don't feel good, you can let me know. He goes, no, I feel good. You feel good. I feel good. And I'm looking at like the height difference. It's so funny. She's standing in front of him, but we're seeing side shots of them. And if she were to stand up straight, she doesn't even reach his chin. Like, that's how little she is. She's so tiny. He's like, I love you, Kaya. And she's like, I love you too. And then give us a kiss. She has to get on her tiptoes. She goes, I'm going to get us some wine. He looks nervous. He looks very nervous. So Mel and Jack are coming out of the barn, and they see Hope. And Hope is there with her truck and a horse wagon, and she has Sugar. She's like, come on, Sugar. And Jack is like, Hope? He goes, you both remember Sugar? And they're like, yeah. He goes, hey, Sugar, why are you giving us a horse? She goes, think of it as a wedding gift. And Mel's like, we have a registry. She gives like a funny smile. And Jack looks at Mel and she goes, well, you did always say you wanted a pony. And Mel looks at Jack like, are you crazy? She goes, this is not a pony. Like nervously. And she looks at Hope. She's like, okay, we just don't know how to take care of a horse. Sorry, this is not a horse barn. It's a wedding barn. So she's like, don't worry. I promise I will nurse him back to health and find him a new home before the wedding. And she's pleading with her face, like, please. And she's like, please, please. And they look at each other, and Jack looks at Mel, and Mel looks at Jack with her eyes getting really big. And Jack looks at Mel, and he's like, okay, just make sure he's gone before the wedding. And Mel is looking very apprehensive, and Hope is like, deal, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I can't even believe she did this. Like, seriously?
Jack has a soft spot for her, so it's like his mother.
I
You
know,
it's
I know.
yeah.
So Hope is like, okay, I'm going to take him and put him in the barn and make sure he's comfortable for the night. And so she walks Sugar, and Jack's a little thrilled. Mel, not so much. Not so much. And Hope turns around and she points to Jack, and she's like, would you please get those 2 bales of straw that are in my truck? Like, okay, now I'm asking you to help me. And Jack's like, sure. And Mel looks at Jack, and he's like, hee-haw. And she's like, oh. She's like, I can't believe we're doing this. Like, Jack seems perfectly fine. Mel looks very worried. Like,
this reminds me of you and your husband.
Sometimes they do stuff, and you're just like, what? Oh, goodness. So we're back at the cabin, and Mel and Jack are sound asleep in bed. Only Jack is not sound asleep. He is awake. He looks over at Mel, and he very carefully and quietly gets out of bed. He grabs his watch. He puts it on. And she's like, hey. She's like, what time is it? Because it's still dark out. And he's like, early. He's like, I'm going to get to work a little early before heading to the courthouse. She's like, okay. Big day today. He just can't sleep. He's just worried. So he drives to when they say get to work, he means work on the house, because he's trying to get this house and barn finished before the wedding, because that's where they're having the wedding, and these buildings need to be finished. The sun is just barely coming up. Like, it's still so dark out that he needed headlights. Now, when he pulls up, Preacher's truck is already there. And when he gets out of his truck, you can hear the banging of the hammer, because Preacher's already there and he's already working. So who knows? He may not have even slept. I mean, he could have been working to moonlight for all we know.
I have a feeling he didn't sleep either.
Yeah, I'm sure he didn't. And if he did, it wasn't much. So Jack gets out, and he's looking up at Preacher, and he climbs up there, and he sees Preacher working. And he goes, what are you doing? And Preacher just takes a deep breath. And he's like, had to get it done. And he sits down. The two of them just sit down and kind of like where they can watch the sun come up. Preacher just looks a little nervous. And they're just kind of sitting there. Preacher takes a deep breath, and he's like, I'm scared. And Jack's like, I'm going to be there, standing by your side. Oh, they both have both of their eyes are misty. It's so sad. He goes, okay, let's finish this up. Jack kind of chuckles at him, like, hands him a part of the roof, and they just gonna keep banging away at it until they gotta go.
Gotta keep chugging along.
Yep. So we're back at the clinic, and there's a letter on Doc's desk that says Doc. And he opens it up, and it's a card. And it says, congratulations. And everybody signed it. It says, on this day, 30 years ago, you opened the clinic. We're forever thankful for it. And for you. Happy 30th anniversary, Dr. Mullins. And then everybody signed it, which is so cool. And he's reading all the signatures, and he's laughing. So he puts the card down, he takes a deep breath, and he goes, okay, grabs some files. He goes to open the door into the exam room. He puts the file down. He opens the door to the waiting room, and it's a party. And everybody's there. There's a big cake. There's a big 30 balloons, and she goes, you said you didn't want a big fuss. Too bad. She doesn't care. Hope gives him a big kiss. Bert's there, and all the neighbors, and Denny walks up and gives him a big hug. He goes, I'm so proud of you, Grandpa. And he goes, thank you. Mel walks up. She goes, 30 years is something to be proud of. She gives him a hug and a kiss. Thank you, thank you. Everybody's there. He's like, wow. He's like, serving the people of this wonderful town has been the honor of my lifetime. I just want you to know that I look forward to many, many more years to come. And everybody's just cheering. Hope comes up, gets another kiss. Oh, more scenery, pretty waterfall. It's nice that they're showing some different locations this time. So Mel is out and about, and she says, I'm really glad you were willing to get out and get some exercise. So who is she walking with? Everett. The two of them are walking over this nice bridge. Trust me, it's not really exercise. I mean, they're on a very leisurely, shall we say, walk. and just kind of getting out and getting some air, which is nice. I mean, he probably needed it. And he goes, well, I guess I better get used to this because she's not going to let him go. And she goes, exercise or being around me? He's probably like, both, of course. And she's like, oh. So they stop on the bridge and he points to this specific area and he's like, there it is. And she's like, oh. And she looks at him confused and he's like, so that photo on my windowsill your mom took when we first met? He goes, she carried around this Instamatic camera that she loved so much. She goes, she took it everywhere with her back then. And Mel's like, I'm confused though. You look so young in that photo. He goes, Mel, our love story started long before those letters. See, we don't know the history behind how they met. I mean, I guess Mel was led to believe by the letters that after Chloe died, she went to Virgin River, hooked up with a guy, got pregnant with Mel, came back, decided to stay with her husband and raise the baby. That was her impression as to what happened. Looks like we are at the jail. Look who's visiting Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
The guard escorts Jimmy to the visitor's room, and Lark is sitting there waiting for him. And he sits down, and he's like, tell me you have good news. And she has a big smile on her face. And she's like, the insurance money came in. And he's like, oh. And they reach over and kiss each other. And the guard yells, inmate, no touching. The guy who just brought him out there, he's like, yells at him. And Jimmy looks over through, because the guard is behind him. And he kind of looks over his shoulder like, yeah, whatever. And Jimmy's like, so then it's time. He goes, you get in there and get as much out of that bastard as you can. And Lark has sort of like a pensive smile. Like she's a little apprehensive. She's like, I will. Mm-hmm. She's like, but it's not going to happen overnight. And he's like, you're not getting sweet on that guy, are you? She's like, no, it's not that. He goes, well, what is it? She's like, how can you be sure he's just going to give me the money? He's like, oh, that's simple. It's love. Makes a man do crazy things. And she kind of looks him up and down like, okay. So, I don't know. She doesn't look as happy about it.
No.
So, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how that goes. So, Jack arrives at the courthouse. Kaya's already waiting. She's waiting on the steps for him. She points him out. She's like, hey, Jack, over here. And they're going to go in together. And he's like, how are you doing? She's like, yeah, it's going to be okay. So Mike is there. He's with Preacher. He's got everybody supporting him. And Mike's like, it'll be all right. And he's like, I know, all in time, all in time. And so Kaya and Jack walk in. Oh. Jack's like, hey. And Preacher's like, hey. And he's like, what's going on with them? And everybody's like, not sure. Because there's a little chat going on between,
she doesn't look.
No, Bree's over there having a conversation, and Mike is like, Bree's been talking to the DA for a while. And she comes over, and she doesn't look happy. She goes, and she kind of laughs. She's like, so, I just got an updated version of the prosecution witness list, and they've added someone. And they're like, well, who is it? It's Jack. So that means that they want to use Jack against Preacher.
Mm-hmm.
So not cool. She goes, they want you to testify against Preacher. And Jack's like, what? That does not look good. And that's where they end it. Oh, my.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these first 2 or 3 episodes have to do primarily with the trial. And then we get into some really fun stuff. But we got to get through this first. We got to get through the trial. So, oh, my. Now, this season also has a bunch of flashbacks of Mel's parents. And it gives you their origin story. And I guess when that was first introduced, the idea of Mel's parents, they're floating an idea of doing a spin-off show that is Mel's parents, that starts with Mel's parents and how they met and their life early on. And it would involve their time in Virgin River. And some of the characters that we know now were young back then. So it would also involve probably people like Connie and Liddy, maybe Hope, because I'm not sure when she got there. and a few other Bert probably, so there's definitely people in town that have been there as long as Everett was there and as long as Sarah, her name was Sarah Jensen,
Mhm.
the two of them, their time in Virgin River. So it'll be interesting if that actually happens. I haven't really heard anything. They keep talking about it's in development, which doesn't really mean anything.
Nope, it
It
doesn't.
means they're thinking about it. There's kind of mixed reviews about whether or not people want that. People really like this show, these characters, these storylines. And I think it's really fun to see the flashbacks, but I don't know if a full-fledged other show about it is as popular, will be as popular. I don't know. I mean, I guess if they make it, we'll see, but it's still it's something I thought they would have done already if they were going to do it, but maybe, I don't know. Maybe they're going to feel it out. I mean, maybe there'll be more flashbacks this season that they just filmed. We don't know. Maybe they're still feeling it out, but I haven't heard anything beyond they're writing it or they're in development or whatever. So it'll be interesting. But they
We'll
they,
have to
they
wait and
picked
see.
really good characters. They picked really good actors for her, the people who play her parents when they were young. They really like fit. I like the vibe that they have.
Hmm.
So, but we'll see. So, the continuing story. All right. Well, thank you, Gigi.
Thank you.
I'm so excited we're finally in season 6. We started this with what are we going to do till season 6 and we're here. I'm just excited. I'll be
Now we
excited the
now,
whole season. Every episode I'm just going to be excited.
now we have to wait for season 7.
Oh my
We're in.
gosh.
So
Yeah. Yep. Well, let's get through season 6 and we'll see. We're going to have to let season 7 come out. We're going to let it percolate for a couple months and then we'll dive into season 7 when it's the right time. So, we'll just keep going cuz that's what we do. So
okay.
thanks for listening. Thank you, Gigi, for being here and doing this crazy idea with me. And
Au revoir, folks.
all right, have a great day, and thanks everybody. Bye bye.